Hey, so basically, I just wanted to do a quick video about teen pregnancy, being 14 and pregnant. Happened to just run across a video last week of this girl sharing her story on being, I think, 15 and pregnant. And I don't know how the video even came up in my feed, but it was there and I clicked on it and she was kind of explaining about how it happened, how she found out, and um, the reactions that people gave. And I was reading through the comments below the video and they were awful. They were horrible. People are crazy. Y'all are crazy. There's so many judgmental people and awful, rude, ugly people. It's insane. But it made me want to share my story because, a lot of people wonder. Some people are brazen enough to ask and some not so much. But I think it's good, too, for the soul to kind of get your story out, share it, especially if it can help other people. So when I was 14 years old, I was hanging out with this boy a lot or whatever, and we had way too much time on our hands, way too much freedom. And one thing led to another. I lost my virginity. And it's crazy because at the time, I wasn't living at home with my mom. I was living with my sister because I had run away and gotten kicked out. I was in a lot of trouble. So I wasn't even living with my mom. I was staying with my sister and just had way too much freedom. So I went, as soon as it happened during a winter break. And as soon as school resumed, I went to the school counselor, the guidance counselor, and I told her what happened. I was very close with her. There was a program that I was in that was for girls who were kind of at risk for things like this. And the program was designed to kind of teach us life skills and to, give us an opportunity to live a different kind of life. So she just naturally seemed like the first person I could tell what I had done. And so she was very disappointed in me. And she took me to the clinic to be tested for STDs and pregnancy and everything. And everything came back negative. But as the weeks passed, I kind of knew something wasn't right. So I went and got tested again. It was negative again. And then I had got a pregnancy test, like a home one. It was negative. But again, I just knew something. So I went back again a few weeks later with my boyfriend and one of my friends to the clinic, and they did a blood test, and I was pregnant, 6 weeks. So I kind of knew I already was anyways, just because I knew my body and I knew something was different. But to have them say, yes, you are, was a shock. I was scared, but I was excited, to be honest, because my life was crazy at the time. My life was insane and something needed to change. And, I knew at that moment my life was going to change. And so I was excited, but I was also scared because my life was going to change and I didn't know what to expect. But I knew immediately I was going to keep the baby. There was no question in my mind. And my boyfriend and I, we told a few of our friends, and it was just crazy because I was a really smart kid. I was in gifted and talented. I was in the honors program. I had really good grades. Even though I had a lot of, I guess, behavioral issues. I was a bad kid in the sense that I would fight and I would do bad things and get in trouble. But at the same time, I was smart and I didn't even have to really try. I just got good grades and I didn't see my potential, I think, as much as maybe some of the adults in my life did, and I didn't understand it. And they would say you have potential, but I did. I'm like, okay, and what am I supposed to do with this potential? So it was crazy. But so I didn't know how to tell, the adults in my life. So I found out on February 11th, and on February 14th, my mom had came to my sister's to drop some things off, and so I put the proof of pregnancy in a Valentine's card, and I put it in her car so that when she left and she got home, she would read it. And I put a note in there and, said I lost my virginity on this date and this is what happened. I'm sorry. And so for the next few weeks, she didn't speak to me at all. And when she was around, when she came to my sister's, she didn't even speak to me. And so when she finally did, the first thing that she said to me was, "I'm so disappointed in you." And that was something that I would hear for months to come was, "I'm so disappointed in you." And as much trouble as I had gotten into prior to that, as many things as I had gone through, I mean, people probably said a lot of things, but I never had people say to me that they were disappointed. And with such conviction, they were just so disappointed. And that, I will never, I will never forget that feeling of knowing that I disappointed so many people. That was hard. So there I was, 14 years old, and I was pregnant. And it was funny because, prior to this happening, there was girls at school that like had issues with me for whatever reason and didn't like me or whatever. And so they would talk crap about me already, and call me names, call me a slut or whatever before I even had sex or even knew what half the stuff that had to do with sex was or anything. And so when I was pregnant, it was like confirmed, oh yeah, she's a slut. See, she's pregnant. Kind of pissed me off because I wasn't a slut at all. Like, these girls had been having sex with multiple people for however long and probably had STDs, abortions, whatever, but just because I did one time and got pregnant, I was a slut. And then there was the people who said, oh, she's just trying to get attention, she's not pregnant, and thought I was lying. Mind you, I was in the 8th grade, so I don't know why you'd want to lie about being pregnant in 8th grade, but it's not cool. It's not what's up. So I actually would take like the proof of pregnancy from the clinic with me to school. So if anybody said anything, I just show it to them. Like, shut up. Like, I don't know. I just didn't really know how to feel. Didn't really have time. I got into fights even while I was pregnant. Like, I hate to say that, but I did. It was just like, that's kind of the life that I lived at the time. And there was just too many girls always coming at me and trying to fight and trying to talk stuff, and I had to defend myself and I had to prove myself. And I didn't really understand, I don't think, until I was further along, that like I had a growing child inside of me, because it seems real, but it doesn't. So eventually though, as the months passed and stuff and I started showing, and obviously it became very real to me and to those around me. And I very shortly after, telling my mom, and we told my boyfriend's mom, and she didn't want me to have an abortion. She wanted me to keep it. And my grandmother wanted me to abort it. I mean, everybody had an opinion. Everybody had something that they thought that should be done about the situation. And it was hard to I was still a child. I felt like I was grown, but I was still a child. And so I had all of these people telling me their opinions and what they think I should do. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So it was hard. It was really hard. Dealing with the kids and the adults and myself and being in a relationship and having a child and having lost my virginity. And when you start having sex, I mean, there's a whole slew of emotions that you're unaware of until you have sex. And it opens up a door for a whole other can of worms. So that, and then you're pregnant, or I was, being pregnant, you have all of these hormones that start to go crazy. And so I had that, and it was tough. And as I'm, finishing the 8th grade, when everybody's wrapping up and having their, parties and celebrating the end of the school year and class pictures. And I was on the basketball team when I got pregnant, and I thought I could still keep playing basketball for a minute. I was still pregnant and playing basketball because, again, I just thought my life could go on. I didn't realize I would have to change so much. But I ended up getting kicked off the team because one of my teammates told the coach on me. So I had to stop playing basketball. But so like when they were doing their games and everything, and I'm just like, man, it really changes everything. So summer came. I was big and pregnant, and everybody was kind of doing their thing, getting ready for high school. And my first day of high school, I was ginormous. I was so big. I was just a big pregnant girl entering the 9th grade. And so everyone kind of knew, it was not the way you want to enter your first day of high school. It's not how I envisioned it at all. I did stay with the child's father. And so we were still together, and I was staying with him pretty much at that point. And going to school and being big and pregnant and entering high school, I was still in honors classes. My education was very important to me. Regardless, I didn't want to be a statistic. I wanted to finish my education, so I stuck with it. And I had the baby in November, which she was late, very, very late. And let me tell you something about being pregnant and being that young. I was little. I was very little. I was like barely 5 foot, a little over 5 foot, and barely 100 pounds. I was super little. And when I had got pregnant, obviously I wasn't a little when I was pregnant. I was humongous. And it was awful being that big, and it was uncomfortable, and she was like sitting on a nerve. So every once in a while when she would move, I would like drop to the floor because it would cut off the feeling in my legs, and I would look like an idiot. And I was just being sick and just having so many different things. I was just big everywhere, my face, my legs, my arms, everything. And and then she was late, and I swore I was going to be pregnant forever. And I was like, get this thing out of me. I can't do it anymore. It was so bad. So having her, they were like, you're not big enough to have an 8-pound baby. We're going to make sure that if she's 8 pounds, we're going to give you a C-section. Otherwise, you can have a regular. And so in delivery, she was bigger than 8 pounds, and they didn't catch it beforehand. And so I had a lot of trouble delivering her. It was awful, and it screwed her up and screwed me up, and we were both messed up for a while, and because she was too big to fit through the birth canal and everything. So it was just crazy, and that messed me up. And then I don't know. So that was it. So I had her. I had her when I was 14, and in the 9th grade, and I went back to school as soon as possible. I did all my work while I was at home on maternity leave. And, oh man, it was having a child. I had the baby blues. I was like depressed. I didn't know. I was like, what the hell did I do with my life? It was bad, but it only lasted a few weeks, and I got right back up, moved on with my life or whatever, and took care of the baby, and, loved her so much and protected her. So, at that point, being 14 and being a mother and going back to school and trying to adjust to high school life with a baby, it's very difficult. And to kind of give you everything in a nutshell, I'll say that after that, her father and I got married when I was 16, and we had another child at 17, and we moved to another state, and we had a very violent relationship, I guess is the best thing to say. It was crazy. I thought that I was fortunate to have the support of my baby's father and everything, but it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, at 14, I don't think you're really in a position to determine the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, because you don't even know who you're going to be the rest of your life, really. So, I ended up I divorced him and moved back to my home state, and I moved on to get married and have another child and inherit a stepchild, and I'm kind of now living my happily ever after, I guess. But there's a few things I really wanted to kind of get across, and the reason that I did this video is that, number one, let me tell you something. Okay, so when I was 14 and pregnant, I wrote an article for the local paper, and the title of my article was Pregnant Teens Need Support, Not Judgment. And I stand by that statement to this very day, because the video that I had watched on YouTube last week of the girl explaining her story, and all of the comments that I was watching, and all of the comments that she said that she had heard from family and friends, is exactly what we don't need. Man, it's so frustrating to me, because when I got pregnant, the main thing that everybody told me was, oh, you can get on food stamps, you can get on WIC, go get free diapers, go get this, which I understand. Young mothers, young parents need that assistance. But what frustrates me is that there was a very, very select few people who said, hey, you still have your potential. You can still go to college. You can still get a degree. You can still live whatever life you want to live, and you can still follow your dreams. No one, I mean, it was just a select few people. And because I was, like I said, I was kind of a wild child and I was in a lot of trouble prior to me getting pregnant. I was in a diversion program, which paired me up with a college student. And that college student, it was kind of like a probationary program, but they were to spend so many hours with me for so many weeks for like 6 months. And my mentor helped me immensely. She taught me how to write a resume. She taught me how to apply for jobs. She taught me how to apply for colleges, and she taught me about college. And she just taught me so many life skills that I hadn't learned yet that helped me so much then and even now. And I did get a job at 14, and I've been working ever since. So, and there was a teacher at the parenting class who became what I aspired to be as a mother. She was incredible. And I will always love her and love my mentor and the select people who showed me that I don't have to just be a food stamp mom forever because I had a kid at 14. So that's the first thing. And the second thing I wanted to say is that it doesn't stop. When you have a child as a teen, you don't stop being a teen mom when you're 20, when you're 25. Even though you're no longer a teenager, you were still a former teen mom, which means you still have to live with all of the consequences that brings. For me, what was harder than being 15 and trying to figure out how to get diapers or formula is being in your 20s and trying to figure out how to buy your child braces, or how to make sure that they have the proper medical care, or how to try to make sure that they are involved in sports. You know how expensive sports are? Oh my gosh. It's harder. I feel like for me, the older I get, the harder it gets, because it's hard not even being 30 and having a high schooler as your child, and people not realizing you're her mother because they think you're her sister, or people not respecting you as a person because you look so young, or you going to pick your child up and people thinking you're her sister and not wanting to believe that you're her mother, or going on a new job or going and meeting new people and them saying, oh, asking about your kids, how many kids do you have? How old are your kids? And then when you tell them the answer, they're like, oh, you don't look old enough to have that many kids, or you don't look old enough to have a high schooler. And you're just like, I'm not. The judgment, the looks, I still get that to this day. I still get the judgment. I still get the looks. I still get, when my daughter was growing up, and when she was like in elementary and middle school, she had a group of close friends whose parents didn't want their children to hang out with my daughter because of me, because of my age. Are you serious? And it frustrates me because I did go on to finish school. I did get my college degree. I do have a career. I did have bought a home. I have built my credit. I have done everything that a normal 20-something-year-old would do. But because I'm a mom of a teenager, and I'm actually, at this point, as I said, I'm married now. I have technically 4 kids. I have a high schooler and 2 middle schoolers, and I have a 6-year-old. But I get judged so much, and people look at me like I'm crazy, and people don't respect me, and it's been so hard fighting for that, and I'm just tired of it. And I'm tired of young people being judged, and teen parents being judged. Just because you're a teen parent doesn't make you a slut. There are some sluts who are teen parents, and there are some sluts who have killed their babies by aborting them, and there are some sluts who have never been pregnant. But it shouldn't matter. Like, you walking around pushing a stroller or having a belly shouldn't, make you a target for judgment or shame. And so the third thing that I wanted to say is that I know it's hard to get, and when I say assistance, I don't mean like food stamps, free this, free that. I mean get your life together assistance. It's hard to get that because the resources are so limited. I know because I've reached out to organizations in my own area to try to get involved, because my biggest passion in life is youth advocacy and teen pregnancy prevention, and helping young parents. And the programs are so limited, and I get it. No one wants to fund these programs because these programs, nobody wants to fund teen pregnancy programs. They want to fund the prevention, but they don't want to fund the programs that are going to help mothers become productive citizens of society, because they don't want to encourage people to have kids as teens. But here's the thing. People are going to continue to have babies as teenagers. It's going to happen. I don't think it would kill to give enough funding to help these people become productive citizens of society, versus having them grow up on having them grow up and having them have their children grow up on, food stamps and WIC and cash assistance and Section 8 and all of these government assistance programs, because it's easier than just saying, look, here's how you build your credit. Here's how to write a resume. Here's how to finish college while you're a parent. Here's how to get a job. Here's how to buy a house. Just because you're a teen parent, it doesn't mean that you have to stop your dreams. You can still follow your dreams. You can still live whatever life that you wanted to live. And I think it's so important for people to know that. And I think it's so important for people to stop judging. Like, I'm really tired myself of being judged for being a teen parent. I'm not a teen parent anymore. I'm a grown-ass woman. And I've paid my dues to society, and I live a good life, and I take care of my kids very well. And it's the very people that I'm around that judge me, and it's just frustrating. So those are the things that I wanted to share, but I want to know your story, and I want this conversation to continue, because we need to talk about this. We need programs available to help young parents live their lives and to raise their children right, and to be able to finish school, and to be able to get a job, and to be able to go to college, and to be able to buy a home, and to be able to build their credit. This is the programs that we need to be funding. These are the programs that we need to have available in every state. Because teen pregnancy is not going to go away. I hope the numbers don't go down, and they are going down, but it's never going to stop indefinitely. So, I don't know. Comment below. I want to hear what you think.